All right. Now we want to talk about free gas. So, in a local Southeast Michigan law firm, the Bernstein law firm, we came across this very interesting. It was originally, I saw it on LinkedIn. They're doing a free gas giveaway. Why don't we go ahead and play the video clip so folks can hear what's going on?
The Sam Bernstein Law Firm is giving away free gas.
To find out where, like and follow the Sam Bernstein Law Firm on social media. We'll announce the location today.
So if you didn't catch that, what the firm's doing is they're going to go to a gas station in their community and give away free gas. But in order to find out where they're doing it, you got to follow them on social media because they're going to reveal the location on social media. Conrad, what do you think about this idea from a marketing standpoint?
So there's a couple elements to this, and I'm going to start with bad and then we'll go to good. When I first saw this, it felt like I am trying to buy unengaged. It felt like the business objective here was to, as they said, grow their like and follower count. And my concern in something that is so focused around that as the objective is that there's very limited genuine engagement, right? That is a very difficult thing to actually push. And when you're just chasing likes and follows, like this is going to cost them, I'm guessing roughly $20,000. And this is a fairly spendy way to actually go about doing that.
How did you come up with $20,000?
Well, 100 gas tanks. At $100 a pop.
I didn't see it. It's 100 gas tanks?
100 okay. Gas tanks, $100 a pop, and then I'm putting in $10,000 behind and this is important, the very aggressive PR and advertising spend that they put behind this. So one of the things, and this is part of what I think they're doing right here, and we've talked about this before, you cannot do a build it and they will come concept with social media. And I think many agencies and most lawyers miss this. You spend so much time generating the content and none of the time or money promoting that content. They are clearly promoting the crap out of this, right? So this is showing up as boosted posts. I think we can show later on, this is showing up on multiple local TV stations, multiple radio stations. And I don't know this, but I suspect there is money involved in the acquisition of that media. If that's earned or bought, don't know. But so I'm pulling 20 grand as a very rough number. It is probably north of that, to be honest, as I go through these things.
Got it.
It's a pretty unengaged group, right? Yeah, I want free stuff, so I'm going to sign up for this thing, right? Like, there's lots of things that people sign up for to get free stuff, but it doesn't necessarily build like, I really like you, Sam Bernstein, because you're giving away free stuff. And if this is a one-off, it's an expensive one-off.
So you might say, find a way to do something like this that maybe has a little bit more affinity built into it. So, and by the way, just so they're a very well-known, prestigious firm, great lawyers in Southeast Michigan. They've been doing marketing and branding for a long time. In fact, we've talked about them before, I believe. They have billboards that are just 1-800 and a picture originally of Sam. I don't know if Sam's still active in the firm or not, but it's a family firm. The kids have taken over, and it's just a picture of them, and like that's the brand that they built. So it's certainly not a one-off. This isn't like, and I think it's important for people that are listening to this, like, Gyi and Conrad aren't like, go buy free gas cards for people and then you're going to, coach your way to success.
That's right.
But let me give you a couple other sides of this coin. And I agree with you on the engagement stuff, right? Like, I don't think this particular campaign isn't going to increase engagement, but it may just grow followers. And followers, if you combine this with other marketing stuff, other good works you're doing in your community, your charity work, and you're posting that on social media, those posts are likely to get engaged. So, I don't want to speak for them, but I think that the goal here might be like, hey, yeah, look, we're giving away some gas. As you mentioned, whether it's paid or not, it got tons of media attention. a ton of links. So I don't know how you feel about links these days, but they do help for SEO still, from what I've heard from some people. And they're growing the awareness from a campaign, right? It's free gas. It's not a very sticky thing, to your point. Gas prices have been fluctuating. So, I think gas is top of mind for people, especially commuters or people that run businesses. People are sensitive to gas prices. I don't know what it's like up in Seattle, but around here, I've heard there's a lot of chatter about gas prices. So I think there's that. But the big thing for me is that you're not trying to do this because like people are going to like fall in love with gas, but following and then finding ways to like get those people to engage with other social media posts, I do think is pretty creative. And not to mention that when you're a firm like theirs, when you're Coke and Pepsi, your incremental brand stuff, it's, it gets a little bit more tricky, right? They're not trying to get their first client. They're trying to get their 900 millionth client. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the thing that just bothers me on this, let's use a round number of $20,000. There's no affinity. People do not have an affinity for a commodity.
Let me stop you 1 second. You know what's a better way to think about this than just $20,000? What percentage of their marketing budget is this?
Microcosm, right?
Right. That's an important point though, because when you say $20,000 and you're kind of emphatic about it, you seem to be implying that that's a pretty big spend for this campaign.
No, what I'm implying is that 20,000. What not even implying. The point I want to make is that $20,000. If I you know this, I am a big believer in trying to build affinity. Right? I like you, and it's hard to like someone just because they're giving away a commodity. Right. I would much rather see them. I'm pulling this out of the air. You spend the $20,000 sponsoring the turkey trot, and you use the money to get in front of runners, right? And so now there's an affinity. Everyone
and
buys
they do
gas.
that stuff too.
But so that my point being, that stuff is much more impactful than this very wide net for which no one's like, I love cheap gas.
And I think so. This is great. I love this because that's true. Now, out of the consumers in the state of Michigan, how many of them are passionate about the turkey trot versus how many need gas?
100%. So I get your point on this. I would rather distribute that money across things that people are genuinely into, whether it's church, dogs, open spaces, saving the historical houses of Detroit. I would rather see it spent on something that is not. I keep coming back to the concept, like no one cares about gas. I mean, everyone cares about gas, but no one has an affinity because of that. And so I want to see this. I want to see having. I just want to see it used to make people like, I like that Sam Bernstein guy because he cares about stuff that I care about.
Totally. And again, I think that they would say the same thing. To me, when I reflect on this, and this didn't even dawn on me when we were talking about this in the pre-show, but one of the points I think that's important here is that they're in a different phase of their branding and marketing. This is certainly not the first thing you should do as a new law firm, right?
Yes.
There are much better ways to spend dollars to attract attention. I agree with you that affinity is more valuable than awareness, but it's the incrementality. I mean, this is why people do display ads, because there's only so many turkey trots. Let's go back to what we talked about at the top, right? So you're like, what are you into, right? That's what you're going to have the best affinity in, is the thing that you're passionate about. Maybe you're a runner. Maybe you're very passionate about historic buildings in your community, or you're just passionate about bringing the community back, whatever it is. And you're going to get David Meerman Scott. You're going to get your super fans from that, right? You're going to get the people who are super. They're like, you're the firm that does that. We talk about Ken in Chicago, and they love Chicago food, and they're all about the food. They're in the food groups. People are sharing the food. And just a side note, maybe that's a good idea for Ken. It'd be buy somebody an app at their favorite Chicago restaurant or something. Might be a corollary, and you're kind of combining these two ideas. But if you want the other side of the coin is like when you're at a different phase of your growth, you want to go bigger. You want to be in everybody's feed. Now, ideally, you'd be in everybody's feed for the thing that everybody loves, but the problem is everybody doesn't love the same stuff. Anyway,
Okay.
I thought it was good. I thought it was an interesting thing that when I was thinking about this, because I agree with you, and I wouldn't be like, your first $20,000, but if it's, if this represents 1% of your marketing budget, then I would like to measure that versus the reach. We don't love talking about reach, but in this context, when you get to that size, your reach and your share of voice, it does matter.
You're making the argument that at scale, brand awareness is actually more economical than brand affinity.
Maybe that's what I'm saying. I was going to say valuable. I was going to say no, not valuable, because I agree with you on the value.
Yeah.
But certainly, I don't know. Maybe I'm saying maybe it's more of a reflection on just like a different place in your growth evolution, because again, it's the same thing with TV, right? Like, we're always poo-pooing TV's super expensive and there's no affinity there and blah blah blah, but guess what, these folks on TV, like, people are calling the vanity number. They're calling 222 2222
Sure.
because it's in their head, and the gas giveaways in people's heads.
And
Here we are talking
awareness
about
is
it.
effective. Awareness is effective, right? I just like affinity more. I'm going to come back to you. I want you to answer this question, but I'll answer it first. I'll give you a moment to think on your feet. If you were to share one idea to reach a local audience, right? One tactical trick, quip, whatever it might be, to reach a local audience, what would that be? I'm going to give you mine because this just popped up in my calendar this morning. And it is prior to the holiday season. So we're now looking at the November, December time. Can you identify and profile, if you want to take the Christmas Christian version of this, you could do the 12 days of Christmas. There's the Hanukkah version of this as well. Can you profile 12 different businesses, local businesses that you can support to have consumers make their purchases at in order to support the local economy, right? So, and the trick is, if you start in November, you're not gonna have enough time to pull this together, which is why it was on my calendar for this year. But can you grab 12 businesses, and one after another, December 1 through 12, encourage people to go to those businesses to put their money back into the Detroit economy instead of into Jeff Bezos's latest space exploration plans. That is a very great way to build affinity and awareness among the local community. Now, if you want to take this is what if I'm Bernstein and I've got that budget, what I do is I go to the local TV affiliates and I ask them to let me profile my 12 favorite local businesses on television. That's how I would spend that money differently. Sorry, that just hit me, but that's how I would do it differently. All right.
No,
shut up.
I love that. No, I don't. You made me think of is Brooks Derrick Law Office, that he does a lawyer, his friends in food, right? So he just goes around and interviews local restaurateurs, small businesses. But again, you know what, the thing and it doesn't even have to be a holiday thing. That's what I was going to say. It doesn't even forget about the holiday. I mean, holiday's
Sure.
great, but you can do this all the time. And to me, and this is why I think this is, your cake and eat it too in some ways in this example, because guess what? Everybody's got to eat, right? And so that to me makes me think about everybody's got to get gas. So you're opening the audience up to it's not just the turkey trot here. You can hit the vegan restaurants, you can hit the steak places, you can hit the pizza joints, you can hit the local bars. It's local, which I think is super, super important.
Yep.
It's a goodwill small business story, right? Because you're highlighting, having these folks tell their stories. And of course, you'll get some of that network effect that Bernstein's trying to get, because people will actually engage with this stuff, because those restaurants will also want to share the story and share the videos, 100%. And their subscribers will, when people are checking in, they should be, promoting that at their businesses. So that, I wasn't even thinking about that, but when you asked me the question, my initial reaction was get involved, build partnerships with local businesses in a variety of different ways. That's what I was going to say. But I think, as you told yours, it became even better, because I do think that to optimize it, do both, right? You can do find those intersections of affinity and reach. I think that's the message.
Okay.
Where can you do both? Not everybody turkey trots, but everybody's got to eat. And everybody's got to get gas, even though it's a commodity.
Okay.
Anyway, I love this segment. And I think folks that are listening, we anticipate doing more of these kind of breakdowns of lawyer marketing campaigns. And so if you've got examples for us, please do send them. You can hashtag us LHLM, or you can call Conrad's cell phone number, which is...
Money makes a it makes a world go round. Money makes a world go round. Yeah, money make a world go round. Money makes a world go round. Yeah, money make a world go round.